Hey everybody.
Hi guys.
We're back. It's Stacey Ann and Michelle. We just wanted to come back and finally upload the video that we promised you a couple of weeks ago. We said that we would be speaking to Christian female friendships, and so we want to take this opportunity now to speak a little bit about that.
First of all, we want to say thank you to those of you who stopped by on the wall and made comments. We really do appreciate it.
Yes.
And thank you for taking the time to comment, view, like, very kind of you.
Mm-hmm.
One comment that we wanted to highlight or speak about was a comment made. We appreciate all of them.
Yes.
I just wanted to highlight one particular comment I just said particular. Just ignore me, guys. The comment is from Kalia Bourne. And Kalia, hi Kalia, what you said was, it is a topic that's been on my mind as well. I find I had more friendships in Toronto than I do now. And it's a struggle to make friends when your communities have changed geographically and culturally. I also find with distance, there's a struggle to maintain friendships. I guess it's because changes have come with the intro of family, career, and again, not being a familiar face anymore. Trust and truly caring about a person would be key factors in maintaining a friendship. Mm-hmm. And truly, we agree with what you have said in regards to the maintenance of friendship. And we wanted to take this opportunity to say that you are missed in Toronto, Kalia, because you really are still a phenomenal person, and we do miss you and love you. And our prayer for you is that you're able to connect and create a village of strong friendships around your family, yourself and your family, and that they would be healthy friendships. So we do wish you the best as well as you solidify your friendship circle. And for those of you that do not know, Kalia used to live in Toronto and she relocated with her family elsewhere.
Yeah, and just speaking to the relocation piece, more importantly, the fact that we're really addressing Christian female friendships is we never want to underestimate the importance that God plays in us developing relationships. So Kalia, the same way that the Lord brought you to Toronto and had you develop relationships here, relationships that you mentioned you still are trying to maintain, you have to trust that the Lord is also able to provide people that you can connect with right where you are. If we truly believe that it is God that has ordered our steps, then we can say that where you and your family have moved to, He's ordained your steps and He's ordered them there. And if He's ordered them there, then He has also made provision for you to develop relationships that will be beneficial to you and to your family while you are there. So we encourage you to, if you have not already, pray and invite the Lord into the process of developing friendships while you're there. Ask Him to lead you to the right people and to invite the right people into your life so that you can not only maintain existing Toronto-based friendships, but you can also develop new friendships in your new location.
Wonderful. And so the real purpose of this video is that we wanted to have a conversation surrounding female friendships and why there seems to be such a negative stigma / experience at times had by so many women. And so the question we wanted to ask today is, can female friendships be genuine, integral, non-competitive, supportive in nature, and can they overcome obstacles? And our answer to that question is
absolutely yes.
Absolutely yes.
Yes, they can. Though they can be difficult. Actually, I was speaking to a friend earlier this week, and her name's Andrea. Hi, Andrea. The word she used was, this topic and this issue is complex, and it is. We in no way want to undermine or belittle the whole topic of friendship and make it seem like it's something that can be wrapped up in a video. It can't, but we do want to use our own friendship and the things that we've learned to address this. And we do want to say to women out there who may be asking this same question, like, is this even possible to find a healthy female friendship as a Christian woman, that the answer is absolutely yes. When Stacey and I became friends, it was a little over, I have a correction to make from the first video.
I was right.
She was closer to the correct number. We actually met a little over 22 years ago. So this coming April, it will be 23 years that Stacey Ann and I have been friends. And we met at a youth conference
yeah.
At the church that I was going to at the time. A friend, a mutual friend of ours brought Stacey or invited Stacey to the conference, and that is when she and I met.
as Michelle just said, it's been it's a long friendship in the sense of longevity, but I think one of my favorite things about our friendship is that it's not just about longevity. Mm-hmm. She has been absolutely, and vice versa, a true friend, a real friend, someone that I really have walked through life, ups and downs with, and through. And so it's, I think, and I'm probably jumping ahead, but one of the main issues I had dealt with in our friendship in regards to other people observing our friendship was people always asked me, why Michelle? And it was interesting because answering that question, I always would say to them, I don't know, you would have to ask God, because I had several people, male and female, come to me and say, I want to be as close to you as Michelle is. And the only response I could give to them was, then you would have to go back and do everything that Michelle has done. And I would ask very real questions like, when I was going through what I was going through and Michelle picked up the phone and heard me crying on the other line, and without even answering, jumping in her car and driving to where I was, you'd have to go back and be the person to do all of that. Because for me, and she knows this about me, the only way you're going to ever get trust out of me or vulnerability out of me is if I trust you. The only way you are going to get into my life is if I trust you. I am that person that will tell you, don't infringe my walls, don't transgress my borders, don't hop my fence. That's my statement. Don't hop my fence. And what that means is, don't try to bulldoze your way into my life, because that is the quickest way that you're going to get me to go into Alcatraz mode. I will just shut you out. And our friendship just happened. It happened naturally. It happened organically. And we both do believe that it was God ordained.
Absolutely.
And there is no pride or arrogance or any kind of boastiness, as Jamaicans would say. We're not showing off our friendship. It's something that happened organically that we do believe the Lord was a part of. And the fruits that remained confirm for us that this is something the Lord did in our lives and with our lives. And that always brings me to a place of humility, because with the conversations we've had with so many different women, this at times can appear to be a rarity. Right. And that's kind of what has pushed us to have this conversation online or in front of a video with you all, is to just share our experience and just how the Lord has taught us to maintain the friendship that He gave to us. Because I think that's important to note, that this was a friendship that was given to us by the Lord to steward.
So key. It's a friendship that the Lord gave to us. What Stacey Ann didn't mention is that at the point in time when we met, before she and I actually met, I was in a point of transitioning out of relationships with my friends that I had before I became saved. So before I became a Christian, I had still a very small set of close and dear friends to me. But after I became a Christian, it became very evident that the life that I was going to be leading and the life that they were still leading were two very different lives. And so I went to the Lord and I actually prayed and I asked the Lord for friends. I said, I realize that you're asking something of me in terms of the new life that I'm living as a Christian. And I'm asking you that if you're going to allow these existing friendships that I have to essentially be pruned out of my life, that I'm asking you now to provide the friends that you want me to have as a Christian. And within a very short time of me praying that prayer, I would say maybe a couple of months, that is when we got introduced at the youth conference at our church. And we became friends very quickly. Very fast friends, but it wasn't fast superficial. It became evident almost immediately this was something that God was very deliberately doing. So that's something that Stacey Ann and I want to say to women out there. As a Christian woman, please do not ignore the importance of prayer in your pursuit of friendships. The same way that you would pray if you were going, if there was a man that was interested in you and you were considering, dating him or getting into a romantic relationship with him, you should pursue that same level of prayer with any type of relationship that you plan on engaging in. And that doesn't leave out female friendships. If you have never done it before, I know a lot of you might be saying, it don't take all that. It don't take all that.
It is.
The relationships that you've had that you have excluded the Lord from, how well did those go? Right? So it does take, it's not even all that. As a Christian, you entertain the Lord in every aspect of your life. Why would you exclude him from the friendship factor? Right? So I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, pray and ask the Lord to introduce the people into your life that he wants there, and also to introduce you into the lives of people where you can also be a blessing in their lives.
Funny thing is, as Michelle just recently shared, when I met Michelle 4 months after I got saved, and I should probably clarify that 4 months after I got saved, because I spent the previous year running from God. And what I meant by that is I had gone to church. I was convicted time and time again to give my life to the Lord. And then I had made the decision to get baptized. And then I disappeared from the church for 8 months because I changed my mind. And then during that time, I struggled and wrestled with the Lord until I finally came back to church and decided. I remember even the Sunday that I gave my life to the Lord, I just wanted the pastor to shut up. No disrespect. I was like, okay, I get it, yada, yada, yada. Because I really just wanted to run to the altar and surrender my life to the Lord. And his sermon just felt like it got in the way. I'm like, I get it. I just want to come. I'm ready. You don't even have to preach. But I wasn't the only person in church, right? But I gave my life to the Lord. And in the same process as Michelle, I was letting go of the friends I had and transitioning out of the life that I was living, reggae youth, transitioning out of that life and fully submitting and surrendering my life to the Lord. And then 4 months later, I met Michelle. So ironically, without even realizing it, we were going through the same process. So, 1 second.
Okay, so we are back. What we wanted to do now is we wanted to actually jump in and answer that question that we asked at the top of this video concerning women being able to have friendships that are supportive, that are integrous, that are genuine, and can they overcome obstacles? And we wanted to answer the question by actually mentioning 3 habits that we have done our best to practice in the duration of our friendship. One of those main habits is the habit of not competing. If you hope to have a healthy friendship with another woman, particularly as a Christian woman, there cannot be that sense of competition. We know, ladies, we've all heard it, we've said it ourselves. There is this stigma and like this overarching sense of competition amongst women. Not even going to try to go into where that stems from and why that is, but let's be honest, it can be the biggest hindrance to either reaching out to someone to start a friendship if you see them as potential competition, and it can be an extremely difficult thing if you find competition developing within your friendship to be able to maintain a healthy friendship while competition is literally competing for affections in the relationship. So you cannot compete. There are different ways that competition rears its head in friendships. You can notice it happening between you and friends, maybe in conversations that you're having. But also it can be brought in from external sources. Sometimes other people start making comments to you and having conversations with you that kind of stirs the pot where competition is concerned. If something is happening in one friend's life that is, glaringly obvious, and maybe the other friend's life, it's very quiet and nothing seems to be happening on the forefront. Somebody might make a comment about that and then, kind of like push your buttons a little bit about how you feel or how they think you should feel about what's going on in your friend's life, and introduce competition that way. Even sometimes you might find yourself making certain little statements. Like I actually heard a friend who was getting ready to go out with another one of her friends, and she saw what her friend was wearing and she's like, no, she can't be going out looking cuter than me. It seems very innocuous, but that's actually, that's competition rearing its head. The fact that you somehow want to appear as more superior as someone else, or there's something about somebody else's life or your friend's life that you want to be able to defeat them in the same kind of goal, that's competition. So we have done our very best. Stacey, and what do you do? I like the way that you positioned what you do to help stave off competition where a friendship is concerned.
Michelle and I, we're friends, but we're also prayer partners, if we can call it that. We pray together. I'm going to call it prayer partners. And one of the things the Lord had laid on my heart, and it's something we started doing, I said to Michelle, we were getting ready to pray one day, and she's like, what do you want to tackle today? And I said to her, I want us to pray against competition in our friendship. It wasn't happening. It's not something that was happening. I just felt like the Lord laid it on my heart. And I said, we're good. I said, but let's be proactive. And as well, because we had prayed, the Lord had led us to pray for some things, and our lives were taking off individually and into separate directions in regards to what the Lord was doing in our lives, in regards to purpose and things of that sort, of that nature. And I said to her, let's pray proactively about competition. Whatever the Lord is going to do with us, let's just pray against that spirit so that we are on the offense and we're not attacking that or addressing it on the defensive. And so that's something that we started doing as well.
Right. So being proactive in prayer.
Prayer is key.
It's very key. Because the threat of competition also requires that we be able to confront it if we see it in our friendship. And that's the only way that you can hope to have a meaningful and healthy friendship. So confronting competition actually brings us to the second part, and the second habit that we try to practice in the friendship, which is confrontation.
And just before I jump into confrontation, I did want to give a quick example where Michelle and I are concerned. Michelle was invited to speak somewhere, and I was there with her, and she was one of the main speakers. And I remember somebody saw us both, and they knew us both, and they knew of our friendship. And that person's first comment to me was, why aren't you on the program speaking as well? And I looked at her, I said, because I'm not. And she was like, okay, but Michelle's speaking. And I said, and I'm not. And when I shared it with Michelle after, we just kind of laughed it off, because I wasn't offended at it. I wasn't bothered at it, because my whole thing was, Michelle speaking, I'm not. I'm here in a different capacity. It's not a thing. Right. But it was just a quick example as to sometimes people will look, and they might have no cruel intentions, malicious intentions, but little things like that can sow seeds. And if we don't, if you don't address it, those little things can mount up into bigger little mountains. So I just wanted to give that quick example in regards to what Michelle mentioned as outside influences, bringing in competition into your friendship. But as she had said, we're moving on to our second habit that we practice, which is confronting each other when necessary. So I'm talking about this topic because I'm the one that's usually confronting her. And all that simply means is when something comes up in our friendship, we talk about it. I think something that is so key to note about female friendships is that when your friendship is healthy, it can withstand confrontation. Yes. It can withstand obstacles, arguments, disagreements, fights.
You have
whatever
to
the
trust
case
your
may
friendship
be.
Can
trust your friendship. Trust the fibers of your friendship that it can withstand the difficulties that come up against it. And so with confrontation, it simply means that if we're having a problem with one another, we talk about it. Now I laugh and I say, usually I'm the one to confront her. It's because for the most part, Michelle's chilling. And she can speak about that herself. Is it true?
Yeah.
For the most,
I'm easy.
Michelle's easy. It's not that I'm not easy.
No, you're a more complex person.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. However, I will more often.
I like my
her.
peace.
She likes peace.
So I'm always.
It's not. I'm not a tyrant. I'm not a troublemaker. Michelle likes to dwell in peace. Michelle's chilling, and the truth is, not much bothers her. Which I have to tell you, that was a struggle in our friendship in the beginning, because she's just so not much bothers this girl. Whereas there's me, where I'm like, Michelle, I just want to talk to you about this because I noticed that nothing bothered this girl. She's just chilling. And on the other side of it, our friendship is up in flames to me, and she's just easy like a Sunday morning. And I'm like, do you notice the flames of our friendship coming to an end? And then she goes, oh, there are flames. I'm like, yes, there are flames. We should address them. And she goes, yeah, let's address them. So when I say I would more go to her, it's that Michelle is chill. Not much bothers her. Right. And sometimes the things that don't bother her should. And so I have to bring it to her attention. And then she'll be like, yeah, dude, you're right, eh? We should probably address that still. And so we have developed this habit of confronting. And confront might sound like a harsh word. We just deal with our issues.
Right.
The things that come up in our friendship, the Bible says, catch for us the little foxes. when those little foxes jump in, we catch them and we deal with them. It doesn't matter how uncomfortable it might be. We know that at the end of the day, faithful are the wounds of a friend, the Bible says. So if I'm sharing something with Michelle, I never have malicious intentions, and vice versa. If Michelle comes to me and draws me up, and this is how she draws me up, if she comes to me and draws me up about something in the sense of confronting me, I know that it's for my best. I know it's for my good. She's not doing it to harm me. And so we definitely do practice the habit of confronting each other. We're also proactive with confrontation, which we learned from the book People Factor. We're proactive with it in the sense that sometimes we sit down and assess our friendships and we ask one another questions. What is the one thing I could work on? What is the one thing I can do better? What's working in our friendship? What's not working in our friendship? So we are very proactive with the art of confrontation because we grow the most as human beings. We grow best in difficulties. Like those obstacles push, even with exercising, that's how we build muscle in the sense of resistance. And so that's how we build muscle. In the sense of the resistance that comes in exercise, it builds our muscles. And so we're not afraid of having the hard conversations because we know at the end of the hard conversations, we're going to be okay because I'm here to stay.
Oh my God.
That rhymed.
And let's not, we don't want to seem, ethereal in our approach to friendship because confrontation can be uncomfortable. It's meant to be uncomfortable. We don't want to make it seem like we're still after 22 going on 23 years of friendship, that it's still not uncomfortable sometimes when we have to confront each other. But the important thing is that it's actually an aspect of our relationship that we are proactive about,
and we keep the door open.
We keep the door open for that because it's important to be able to do so. And as Stacey said, I love the way you put that, Stace. Trust the fibers of your friendship that you can be able to still maintain your friendship after you have confronted one another. Stacey Ann and I have two very different personalities.
They're polar opposites.
Yes, even though I am, for the most part, I'm pretty chill. Not very much bothers me. I'm pretty easy, but I do have a strong personality. You push me, I'm gonna check you. Whereas Stacey Ann she's people-y. She's extroverted.
I love people.
She's very people-y. I'm introverted, and I'm very laid back. So sometimes the way that we confront each other, our personalities come out in the way that we confront each other. I try not to go for her throat if I have to confront her about something.
Because I'm sensitive, and sometimes she hurts my feelings.
But now over the years, I've learned because she has told me, when you did that or when you said that to me, it actually hurt my feelings. Yeah. And in her saying that to me, I have to be deliberate now about if I am going to confront her about something, how I'm going to do it. Likewise,
don't go for my throat.
Yes. Likewise, Stacey, she is sensitive. She is a gentle person. And so she will tend to address me that way gently sometimes. And I'm just like, you can come at me. I can take it.
And then when she says that, I go at her.
Then she comes at me, right? And she's like, yo, Tada. And you need to stop it.
And you need to care more.
And you need to care more.
Yeah.
And then we deal with it. So confrontation. And then the third habit that we practice is the habit of confidentiality. You would think that it would go without saying in a friendship, but it's actually scary, shocking how many people struggle with confidentiality, struggle with keeping things private, struggle with not sharing everything that is shared with you, not letting the cat out of the bag. We have to learn to both cover and be able to confide if you're going to have a healthy friendship as a Christian female. And what I mean by cover and confide it's actually two sides of one coin. If I am going to entrust you, Stacey Ann, with something that's going on in my life, I expect not only to be able to confide in you, I expect that if something's going on that shouldn't be shared, you're also going to cover me personally, and vice versa. If something's going on in Stacey Ann's life, something has taken place, she should be able to know that I am somebody that she can come and confide in, and that I'm not going to share it with anyone. I'm not going to share it even as a married woman with my spouse, because it has nothing to do with my marriage.
Please, thank you.
And so therefore my husband does not need to know what's going on in Stacey Ann's life, because whatever's going on in her life has nothing to do with my marriage. So I'm not somehow disrespecting my husband or disrespecting our marriage by not sharing everything that Stacey Ann shares with me.
Yeah.
And likewise, if I share something with her, I'm not expecting her to go out and share it with anyone if it has nothing to do with them.
Right.
So you want to be able to both cover and confide in your relationship, and we make a habit of doing that naturally, individually.
Yes.
We're vaults. We are vaults.
Yeah.
Everybody that has come into contact with us, whether individually or together as friends, they always comment on the same thing. We know we can tell you guys something because it's not going to go anywhere. Often they'll come to us after they've told one person like 3 years something ago, and then they'll be like, "Oh, Stacey, I didn't tell you," or "Michelle didn't tell you." It's like, no. Why would you didn't give her permission to tell me, or you didn't give me permission to tell her. We don't share things even that other people share with us. So we think it's very important that if you're going to have that healthy female friendship, that you be able to cover and confide.
We actually do have one mutual friend, because not all our friends are mutual.
No, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Who, whenever she shares something with one of us, she says, "I know how you guys are. Can you please go and tell the other one?"
And you know who you are.
Can we just say her name?
Yes. Landa.
But she will come and she will say, "I've told you, can you please go tell Stacey? Because I know you guys are vaults. You're not going to say, just go tell her, because I don't want to repeat it." She's like, I don't want to go through this again. So you go tell her, please.
Yes.
So it's really people who do know us mutually. They know that they literally have to give us permission to go and tell the other person, because they know we're sincerely not going to.
Yeah. And it's important. It is important to know that you have a safe place. It is important to know that you have a private place.
Yes.
If you're gonna maintain a healthy female friendship.
Wonderful.
Yes.
1 second.
So just so that we recap, the 3 habits that we practice that we're sharing with you is: do not compete, confront when necessary, and be confidential. Practice covering and practice confiding in your friend.
And now what we wanted to do, we wanted to jump or add or include a bonus question in regards to our friendship.
Yes.
And this question that we've asked each other very recently is, what is your least favorite thing about being friends with me?
Do you want to go first?
I'm going to let you go first, because I'm probably going to talk more.
Okay.
Because I'm the talkative one.
The thing that I like the least about being friends with Stacey Ann is that Stacey Ann is a writer, for those of you who don't know. She's very, very good with words. And Stacey Ann has a tendency, when she believes that she is opening up to me,
Sorry, it gets me every time.
to use a plethora of words to tell me absolutely nothing. And so what usually ends up happening is I spend about the first 10 minutes listening to Stacey give me a very frothy soliloquy of emotions that sum up to absolutely nothing. So then I have to go, you do realize you just spent the first 10 minutes saying absolutely nothing to me about what's actually taking place. And then she's like, I did it? You mean I didn't share? Because I think
I'm super transparent.
She's
and
like,
I feel like I tell her everything.
It's an open book before you. And I'm like, yeah, right now we need to get through a few of those pages so we can get to the real part, what's actually going on. So that's the part I like the least, is having to keep reminding her, less words, more actual content, because I can take it. Like, say what you need to say. I can take it. That's the least favorite part.
In the sense, so you're saying that I'm not as transparent as I think I am.
No. She thinks she's very transparent with me, and then I'm just like, no, we got to work on what your definition of transparency is. Yes.
And in the sense of, when you ask me what is my least favorite thing about being friends with Michelle, or being your particular friend, and I've said this to her very recently, we had the conversation off camera, is based on our personalities and the way that we are as individuals, I at times don't feel that Michelle needs me as much as I need her. And what I mean by that is, I'm a people person. I love people. I love being around people. I love being in your presence. Like I don't just want to talk to you on the phone. Like I want to be. Yes, Michelle, I love people. They heard you. I like people. So I like quality time. I like spending time with you, but I like spending time with you in front of you. Michelle and I, let's just put this out there. We talk literally, minus maybe 3 days a year. We talk every day about 5 times a day, as they say on the radio, 5 times a day, 5 times a day. Like we literally talk every day, 5 times a day. So a day doesn't go by. It's very rare that happens where we're not talking to one another. Yeah. So we're always talking to each other, but my love.
And not about other people's business.
No. That's very key. We talk to each other all the time. But we are talking
we are about hot messes enough to just deal with our own.
We're a hot mess. We can talk about each other ourselves all day, but we literally are not talking about other people. We don't want to know we don't want to know anybody's business.
No, thank you.
Well, no thanks. But honestly, we're not gossip. This is not a gossip thing. We're talking to each other about our lives, about each other,
and about whatever God is doing or saying at the time.
But Michelle doesn't need. I'm extroverted. I need that connection. I need that time in her presence. She doesn't need that. So Michelle is good. She can live in a house covered by a big shrub that's as high as a tower, and she's good by herself. Meanwhile, it's her happy place in the silence, away from people for the most part. And then there's Stace on the outside going, Michelle, hi, I'm out here, come and play. And she's just good to be by herself. I'm good being by myself. I'm good with silence. I'm good with quiet time. But I need that interaction. And so I struggle with that. And I've shared that with her where it's like, sometimes I need you to be here in the sense, I told her, the least thing I like is that you don't need me as much as I need you. Because sometimes I actually need your physical presence.
I do. And the funny thing is, I like the way she stated it because when she first said it to me, I actually had to evaluate it. The thing is, I do need her as much as she needs me. I just need it differently. Yeah. Right? So what it brought up a really good point to us is that there's always a pursuer in the relationship. Every relationship has a pursuer. Sometimes both people are pursuer, but even if both are pursuers, there's usually one who's better at it or who pursues more. Yes, it's Stacy, who pursues more often in the relationship. So Stacy is naturally the pursuer of people. She's the one who will call. She's the one who'll say, we need to see each other or we should go out and stuff like that.
Well, you call me too.
Yeah, and I do call her too, but she will more pursue me in terms of the relationship. And it's actually very humbling because when I started to see the way that she puts effort into the relationship, I had to become much more deliberate about it because it is not intrinsic to me. It's not as natural to me to pursue. So I actually have to be aware of that and be much more deliberate about making sure that she knows that I want to see you too. I want to spend time with you too. I'm going to come over. Let's actually put that on paper. So that was cool.
Yeah. And so that would be, we chose to say the thing we like the least because we love each other. Like, she's awesome. I'm pretty cool. It works. But just in a sense, it's my baba. But we just wanted to highlight and share that every friendship, every relationship, every friendship, there are things that you struggle with, and we talk about it. And it's so funny. We did this very recently. Found this out from each other very recently, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so our encouragement to everyone watching, listening is just don't ever be afraid to have those conversations, have the hard conversations, have the easy conversations, and build on your friendship. Because it really is that deep. Friendship really is that deep. Friendship, every relationship, it's an investment. It requires work. It requires time. It requires energy. It's an investment. So you want to make sure you're making good investments so that you can get an awesome return from that same friendship as well.
And if you have been in a friendship before that didn't work out, maybe you got burned in a previous relationship. Maybe you were the one who did the burning in a previous relationship, but you recognize that you still have that need. Note that it is a God-given need. He designed us to be in relationship vertically with him, but also horizontally with others. So if you have that desire, Don't say, you know, I tried that already, it didn't work, I'm done with the friendship. No, God's designed you with that need for relationship. He's designed you with that need for intimacy. Go back to him. Even if you've had a messy past where relationships and friendships are concerned, go back to him and lay that out before him. Maybe he does have you in a season right now of isolation, just preparing your heart and healing you in areas so that when he does introduce you into the lives of others and introduce others into your lives, you can put some of these same habits into practice and help to develop a healthy and strong Christian female friendship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to end the video by talking about one final bonus point, we wanted to call it. It's something that Michelle and I have dealt with throughout the entirety of our friendship. This word tends to rear its head, and we just wanted to take this opportunity to address it and share just some truths about it. And I also do want to make this disclaimer. This is it's not specific to any one person. This video is something the Lord laid on our hearts over 2 months ago. And we're finally getting to it and getting that done. But we wanted to close out the video by clarifying the concept of cliques.
Or cliques, however you pronounce it. Same thing.
There have been several times in our friendship where we have been accused of being a clique amongst ourselves, or being a part of a clique in the sense of a larger group of friends that are connected to us. And it's something that I've always struggled with, in the sense of what is it that makes her and I, or the friendships we're connected to outside of just us, what makes it a clique? Because when I look up the definition, the dictionary definition of a clique, it in no way, shape, or form reflects
not
who we
even
are.
close to reflect who we are. But I think over the years, people have misinterpreted closeness as being related to being a part of a clique. So if they see two or more people being very close in friendship, it somehow, in some circles, and I stress the some, because we noticed the type of people that tend to refer to us being a clique are usually those who are struggling with friendships themselves. So it's really, I like the way Andrea said this, it's their need that is speaking. So they see us and they think, I'd like to have closeness in relationship, not even necessarily just with us, but they want close friendship as well. And they see our closeness and they perceive our closeness as a threat. And so they negatively label us as, oh, you guys are a clique, or your whole group of friends, you guys are so close, you're always together, so you're a clique. But Stacey Ann, what is the actual definition of clique?
According to Merriam-Webster, the definition of a clique is a narrow, exclusive, keyword, exclusive circle or group of persons. And that exclusivity speaks to the fact that these individuals solely interact with each other or one another. So when you say, I automatically think of the movie Mean Girls, and it doesn't mean they're mean people, but it's just a group of people who solely interact with one another. They're exclusive with one another, and no one else is a part of their group.
Right. They are deliberately unwelcoming to others. So exclusive or deliberately unwelcoming, which Stacey Ann and I, in our friendship, we're not. We have friends aside from each other, as close as we are. We have friends that are separate and distinct from each other.
That I'm not a part of and she's not a part of.
Right. And then even in our larger, which is still a small but larger circle of friends, we don't deliberately exclude anyone, but we do again understand that sometimes out of people's own hurt, out of their own need, out of the area of their life that's missing, they misidentify categorizing us negatively as a clique. So let's keep closeness and clique on their respective sides. You can have groups of people or friends who are very close, but just because they're close, it doesn't make them a clique. And one thing that we wanted to point out is that if you are in a position where you're trying to develop friendships or you're trying to get to know people,
Yes.
you could inadvertently be shooting yourself in the foot
Yeah.
if you start miscategorizing people or attacking their closeness, and making them feel like it's a negative thing for them to be that close, just because that's actually something you desire yourself.
For yourself, yeah.
So just be careful, you know, if you are in pursuit of relationships, that you are not looking at somebody's sweet grapes and calling them sour lemon.
Nice.
Because it's something you want and don't have, right? Because you could end up actually be putting up barricades to an actual relationship with other people by misqualifying or miscategorizing what it is you're seeing.
Right. And again, it's, as she's already said, when we see people that are close, let's not be so quick to call people cliques because they have found their tribe or found the people that the Lord, or some of the people that the Lord has decided to surround them with. Let's not just be so quick to identify it and give it such a negative stigma in the sense of, oh, you're a clique and you don't want anybody else to be a part. It could simply be that they've just found some really good friends.
They just really like
and they're
each
just
other.
Doing life. And it's really that simple.
Right.
And if the Lord's, if it's something that in the sense of the Lord wants you to be a part of that, then he will bring you into that. But if not, the Lord has people for everyone.
Yes.
And I always say this because I'm telling you this, the clique situation is a sore spot for me. And whenever people brought it up to me, I would always tell them, bring me to the Bible. Let's go to the Bible. Let's start with a number. Was it 72? I think there was 72. Out of the 72, there were 12. Out of the 12, Jesus had 3. And out of the 3, Jesus had 1. So I've always said to people, check Jesus and come talk to me. It's because I've never understood it. And again, like Michelle had said, it always came off with such a negative, attacking, aggressive approach of, oh, you guys are a clique and nobody else is. And I'm just like, well, number one, the Bible says that he who desires a friend should first show himself friendly. You're not being very nice to me. and the thing is, I was like, it's a need, and it's the need that's speaking. And now our response would have to be, or anyone else's response would have to be one of maturity in the sense of not meeting that aggression with aggression, but stepping back and realizing that's hurt, that's their own desire, that's their own need to have that closeness in their life. But I do want to take the opportunity to say, and I've said this, I told her I was going to say it, because this happens to me, because I am such a people person. This happens to me all the time. Just because I am a nice person, just because we interact and we get along, doesn't mean that I have to be your friend. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, because I go through this so often. I'm a nice person. And Michelle always says, you know, in the sense of friendship, you lead people on but I'm nice to everybody. So nice. I treat everyone the same. But just because you find me to be a nice person, and just because you've identified me as someone that you might desire to be friends with, it doesn't automatically determine that I am a friend for you.
In other words, it doesn't obligate you to now become that person's diehard friend.
Yes.
And that can be hard to swallow, especially when you're trying to be.
Because I have had upset with people in the sense of, well, I wanted to be her friend and I'm not getting to be her friend, and that's because Michelle is her friend and Michelle's in, and it's just like, no, I'm a nice person. And I get along with most people, and I treat people, because she knows me, I genuinely love human beings. And I treat, no matter who you are a bum on the street or a CEO of a company, you're going to get the identical treatment from me, because I believe firmly every human being deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
Yes.
And I do my endeavor, and I sincerely love people. And I'm going to treat you with those 3 things: dignity, respect, and love. But it doesn't automatically mean that I am obligated to be your friend because you want to be my friend. I'm not exclusive. I'm not cutting you out, but let it build.
You're also not flinging the doors
busting the door wide open, because
that's
again,
also unhealthy.
I require trust, and if I don't know you, we can't be jammed like Smuckers. It's going to take some time. So our encouragement to everyone out there seeking these kind of friendships, if you are a believer in God and Jesus Christ, take the time to pray. Take the time to ask him to bring the right people into your life, the right connections, because the right connections will come along from more than just having friends and a good time. It complements purpose. It complements your life journey. You're journeying through life together. If I'm going through something, I can call her and say, pray. If she's going through something or tackling something in prayer, she can call me and say, can you pray with me about this? These are things that are important. Yes, we shop together, we eat together, we laugh together, but the fundamentals of our friendship,
that would never maintain a real
it's built
friend.
on prayer and just really asking God to lead and direct. And even out of our friendship, the Lord has recently laid on our heart a business to do together. And it's so funny because it's something we've done all through the years that we've been friends.
Just naturally.
But we finally just realized, oh God, we should do something with this. All right. But really, I'm going to stop talking. You want to close this out?
Yeah. So I hope that in hearing us speak about this and the points that we covered, that you found it helpful. Again, we said at the very beginning of the video, we know that this is not going to address every single issue with female friendships. It was not meant to. It was really just meant to hopefully start a dialogue. So hopefully it will start a dialogue amongst other Christian women out there, amongst existing close female friends, and even women who are looking for that. Maybe this could be a topic of conversation between somebody, yourself and someone that you've identified that you would like to get to know as a friend. Because even though you're praying and asking the Lord to bring someone to you, he's also given you instruction to show yourself friendly if you're looking for friends. So you do have that responsibility as well to, you know, take that risk and extend yourself to other people. And you never know. That could be a great friendship waiting to happen, or it could be a swing and a miss. Let it roll off your back and you move on.
So thank you guys for your time.
Thanks for listening.
Hopefully this is helpful to those of you who take the time to stop by.
And if it's not, forgive us.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you,
God bless
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Bye.